It's an advantage of risk. When you issue the bonds, if the tobacco settlement doesn't come in as expected, the taxpayers and the Commonwealth are on the hook for the risk. If you sell the revenue stream, or it's really just a portion of the revenue stream, about 32% of it, that risk is associated with the purchaser, not the Commonwealth and not the taxpayers. So I think that's really the nuance, the difference between the two.
The pension systems don't take up.
Yeah, they're not required. We just wanted them to have first right of refusal. If they are not interested after, submitting the proper paperwork, it'll go out to open bid. That's okay. We just wanted to make sure they had the opportunity if they so choose. But look, they've got investment standards. If it doesn't meet their investment standard, we won't expect them to take it.
Is there a structural deficit?
The deficit is really, it depends on how much money you're looking to spend. We've got some mandatory expenditures every year that we've got to account for. The top four in recent years has been debt service, our entitlement programs, correctional spending, and our pension obligations. We did pension reform in a bipartisan fashion a couple months ago. It's not like we're going to see immediate results, but the cost curve's going to start to bend. The correctional reforms of a couple years ago are starting to bend that cost curve. Debt management is going to be a significant cost curve that we've got to, let's be frank, just stop issuing general obligation debt to bend that cost curve. And entitlement spending is where we're seeing the most significant increase, particularly with Medicaid expansion. From one vantage point, we are in a little bit of a situation being in limbo with what's going to happen at the federal level, with the Affordable Care Act, but that is probably the major area that needs to be addressed over the next couple of years, because if not, those expenditures are going to keep increasing by $1 billion to $1.2 billion a year, and that's going to push other things out of the general fund that folks like education, parks and recreation, community and economic development, transportation, those type of things. So to the extent that we've got mandated costs that we are having to deal with every single year, yeah, it is definitely a drain on the general fund budget.
To what extent have you discussed this with Senate leadership?
I contacted Senate leadership last week, made them aware of it. I know staff has had some conversations throughout. We had hoped to kind of get into a final negotiation structure long before this, but as we talked about in there, not a lot of folks have been interested in negotiating until we put a plan forth in a public fashion that we have 102 votes for. So, like I said, it's not the ideal way of moving forward. I'd rather have complete agreement with the Senate, the governor, and the House Democrats, but it is what it is. Times are different. So we're going to move forward with this with the expectation we get to 102 votes, and then we'll enter into the next round of negotiations and hopefully finish that in a very timely fashion.
And when's your floor consideration, Mr.
I think we've got to wait 6 hours from the time it was adopted in the Rules Committee. So you're talking in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll likely start the debate much sooner, so everybody will have the opportunity and not feel a time crunch, going up. But we can't actually physically take the vote till the 9 o'clock hour.
You plan to do it today?
Look, we'll see what the vote is when we go up to the floor. I don't think, you never count your chickens before the eggs are hatched, so we'll see.
Is this third consideration tonight?
Yeah, this is concurrence. It's a concurrence vote. So it'll go directly back over to the Senate. Okay, thank you all very much.